once you have actually gotten your oil, we now need to process it into different fuels in the oil refinery, which is what I have made in front of me. So let's make our own now. So the first things first, you're going to want to pipe in your oil. I'm going to be using a fluid tank that I have already gotten oil from, magically. And then what I'm going to do is put on a liquid hopper. So I'm going to place my refinery controller. This is the main item that is the refinery. And I'm going to shift right click the hopper onto the refinery controller so that it's pulling from the tank into the refinery controller. On top of that refinery controller, we need 4 refinery outputs. 1, you may need to shift 2, 3, 4. Now, the thing is about this, if we can now go into it, now that we've made the multi-block, and you can see the crude oil coming in, you can see that nothing is happening because it needs to be over 100 Celsius in order to work. And we're going to get 4 different fuels being made from our crude oil in here. Now, the heat will escape from these outputs, but what we can do is make these thermal laggings. Thermal lagging is just wool and glass, and we can place it, or shift-click it, onto our outputs here. This is going to stop any heat from escaping from our refinery outputs. However, it will actually, it'll still let you click into the block. You have to actually sneak to be able to break it. So hopefully that makes sense. If I left click now, it wouldn't break the. You can see at the top. I'm targeting the refinery output. Where if I shift, then it's targeting the thermal lagging. I must say the developer who made this mod, he or she or they have thought about all these little things in this mod that would be annoying, and they have just fixed them. It's just amazing. I love it when I see this happen. I get really geek out over it. So the next thing is we need to actually get the heat into the refinery. What I would personally use is a vortex tube and a heat sink. And I'm going to be using, along with that, an air compressor and some pressure tubes. So what the vortex tube is, if I place one here, you can see that one side is hot, 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 and one side is cold, cold, cold. So I'm going to place it up against my refinery controller, and I'm going to use my pneumatic wrench to turn it so that the hot side is going onto the refinery controller. I'm going to use a heat sink on the cold side. What a heat sink does is it will dissipate that cold side into the air, basically. And now just to make it work, we need to give it some pressure. So I'm just going to use an air compressor, put in some coal. Obviously, you can use whatever pressure system that you've already got going. Security upgrade. And some speed upgrades. Put my pressure tubes onto there. That is then pushing the bar up on the vortex tube. And you can see on here that the north temperature, which is this way, is increasing with the south temperature decreasing, which is this side. And you'll see that the heat sink is absorbing or dissipating the cold temperature on this side. So now we go into our oil refinery. You can see that it is heating up. You could just put lava next to this if you wish. You don't have to use a vortex tube, but lava solidifies, torches burn out, lots and lots of reasons. I think making a vortex tube would be just the best way to deal with this. And you can now see that we're making diesel, kerosene, gasoline, and LPG. If we look at what we could do with these different fuels, diesel being the first one, with some redstone, and this is in thermo-pneumatic processing plant, which I haven't obviously gone over yet. You could turn it into lubricant. Lubricant is actually how you are going to make lots of other stuff that I'm not going to go into right now. We have kerosene, which can be made into gasoline, which can be made into LPG. LPG can be made into molten plastic. And this is basically the way that you start then getting plastic. We have gasoline and LPG here. And these 4 fuels are going to kind of go up, and ideally you're looking mainly in this tutorial, the reason I'm doing it is to give you LPG so that we can then get molten plastic. And there we go. That is how you use the oil refinery. If you're still not sure, however, by the way, how to get these out of here, if we actually click onto it, you can see the Second one is kerosene. So the second one up is where kerosene will be. Just leave one side open from these thermal laggings, and you can pump it out with whatever kind of liquid tubing that you want. And I'm using mechanisms, mechanical cables here to do that. So obviously gasoline on this one, LPG on this one, and diesel on the bottom one.